And welcome into season 2 of the Cardinals franchise. If you didn't watch season 1, quick recap. We won the Super Bowl. A lot of changes had to happen to the team to get us to a point where we were playing consistent football, not necessarily really high powered offense or defense, just some consistent football. Got the thing going, and we were able to do that through the postseason, and we won a Super Bowl. In the off season, we really went kind of heavy in the draft and drafted actually quite a few guys who very well might be starting, and we made some trades as well, sending away Zach Ertz. We also released some other guys, and kind of late in the offseason ended up trading some backup guys who we really didn't think had a shot, or not necessarily had a shot, but could easily be replaced by someone younger with similar overall. And that very well might continue a little bit as we start the preseason here. And unfortunately, we are going to have to make a really big trade. As you see here in the top right hand corner, our cap space is $820,000. We have next to no cap space, and we really need to find some space, really, to help fill out this roster a little bit. And unfortunately, as I was mentioning, the player that we're going to have to probably end up trading away as we look at the highest overall contract is going to be DeAndre Hopkins. He played half the season, or about half the season, for us last year. We honored the 6-game suspension that he faced in real life. And he came in, he didn't really put together an amazing season. I want to say it was about 500 yards, so maybe on pace for 1,000 if he played the full year, but he really didn't have a big impact in every game. He had some highlights throughout for sure, but he didn't take over any game, and as a 95 overall guy who's this year would be making $30 million, you expect more. So also being 31 years old, I think it's time to get younger in the receiving group. And there's no better time than after winning a Super Bowl. This is when teams kind of blow up as they get ready for the future. As the current roster, I don't think is a Super Bowl contending roster. I didn't think it originally was in the first place, but definitely I think it's time to regroup and get younger, as we did start this series because they were the oldest team in the NFL. So as we can see here, this is what the CPU is saying teams would offer, and I personally think these are way too much. Don't get me wrong, I would love to bring in several starters with the trade. I just don't know how realistic that actually is. Like Chidobe Awuzie and Tyler Boyd and a first-round pick for DeAndre Hopkins. I get it. He's good. He's a really good receiver. I just think that's a bit too much. Amari Cooper, a second and a 3. Mike Evans, Russell Gage, and a later or lower overall corner. A first round, and Aaron Jones from the Packers. Marlon Humphrey from the Ravens, as well as Malik Harrison, DK Metcalf, and Kobe Bryant. These are definitely way too high. So we're going to create our own trade that I think is much more realistic. And we have struck a deal with the Bengals. They had the most amount of cap space left, so they could definitely eat his contract. In his stead, we'll be bringing in a current round 1 and round 3 and a future 4. I feel like that is much more realistic. We've seen some trades of recent in real life NFL be a lot for a player and then not much at all for a player. I feel like this is more realistic. Even though he is 95 overall, he is still 31 years old. So I feel like this fits, and we end up saving quite a bit amount of money. And just doing that one little trade, we now have about 20 mil left in cap space. So now we can go through all of the undrafted free agents, find some young guys, maybe even find some older guys to help fill in the roster a little bit as well. And the first signing we're going to make is for a backup quarterback, and I'm going to bring in Tyrod Taylor. He's 34 years old, but he still has a little bit of some throwing ability, and it's kind of strange that the throw on the run, play action, under pressure, and break sack are all 77. That's kind of weird. But he has some speed still to him, so I feel like he would be a good backup that fits the kind of scheme that we run. And actually, N'Keal Harry is available. It costs us a little under 3 mil. Still 25 years old, 74 overall. We don't have a lot of physical type receivers on our team. Terrence Marshall is, so perhaps N'Keal Harry and him can fight for that physical receiver guy on our team. We're going to have Hollywood Brown continue to be our deep threat, and then our slot will still be Rondale Moore. So finding someone who's that physical threat, having two options, I think would be solid. So let's bring in N'Keal Harry. And for that number 2 tight end spot, we did draft 2 tight ends. They just didn't end up panning out as well as I was hoping. We're going to sign Juwan Johnson. He is a very fast tight end, 86 speed. Still has some solid hands with some ability to run block a little bit, but it's primarily the hands that we're going after with our spread, zone, run, RPO. It's a weird style offense, but it works, and I think he'll fit very well. And now the final roster for the preseason is set. At quarterback, Kyler Murray. Backing up will be Tyrod Taylor. Cole McDonald is fighting for a practice squad spot, most likely. Being 25, I don't know if he has an option left to go to practice squad. But if he does, that'll be where he heads. The running back spot, we have Chuba Hubbard, Matt Breida, and Derek Young. For the running backs, it will primarily be Hubbard and Young. Breida will just be a backup. We also brought in fullback / running back Ryan Nall. We saw him in the postseason last year with the Cowboys. He ran very well. I've been looking for a fullback / running back who could be a power back for us on occasion when we need it. I feel like we found that with Nall. And at the receiver spot, this is what we are looking like. Marquise Brown being our new highest overall, with Rondale Moore, who will be playing in the slot. I'm not quite sure yet if we will bring out both Marquise Brown and Rondale Moore whenever we're down in like an ace formation where we only have 2 receivers out there, or if N'Keal Harry or Terrence Marshall will then go out and we'll only play Rondale Moore in the slot. I'm not sure. They both have a lot of speed, but they do not have height, so I'm not quite sure what we're going to do there. Past those 4 all undrafted rookies with Max Callahan, Tyler Ramirez, Jamarcus Williams, Juwan Collins, and Romeo Miller. Definitely want to highlight Juwan Collins has 99 speed with 94 acceleration. There is also Jamarcus Williams, who has 95 speed and acceleration. So we at least have some gadget guys down at the bottom who could try to fight for a spot on the final 53-man roster. At tight end, Trey McBride will finally get his start with Juwan Johnson backing him up. We did draft Jonathan Brahman, who will probably make that 53-man, with Jaleel Wall most likely going to the practice squad. Potentially could be cut, but most likely practice squad. Up on the offensive line, we have 9 players. We signed Christian Sr. in the open free agency. Justin Pugh came back. We did find undrafted rookie Malik Fitzgerald. And I did go through the entire offensive line, and I released everyone who was not a good, or at least could be good, pass blocker. So a lot of different backups, but better for our scheme. So Malik Fitzgerald is one of them. Rodney Hudson did not retire, is back for his 13th season. Right guard, we did bring in Ryan Bulaga. Being 34, also playing 14th season, very well could retire as well. And at right tackle, Elton Jenkins comes in, and I believe he might be our highest overall, tied with our highest overall offensive lineman. We also have backing up Josh Jones, who will be our primary guy across the board. We also kept Isaiah Wilson and signed undrafted rookie James Burnett. At left end, we're going to have a lot of competition. Dennis Gardeck for sure is starting. He had 21 or 21 and a half sacks last year for us, so he's getting the start. We're going to try to get Cameron Thomas out there a good bit too. He's a higher overall younger, or the same overall at least for Gardeck, but he's a higher overall young guy. But he just hasn't performed when he's been given the opportunity. And he's gotten a good amount of opportunity, so I need to see what he could do. It's only his 2nd year. Do we keep him, trade him, find someone else for this spot after Gardeck inevitably regresses, as I'm sure he very well could do after this season? Myjah Sanders is on the trade block. primarily again because he's 25, he's behind a couple guys, and we have a few other younger guys with similar-ish overalls. Victor is definitely going to be fighting with Joseph Cross for maybe a spot on the roster. Maybe we just cut Victor. Going to depend on how these guys play. And I did sign Matthias Campbell as an undrafted rookie. We drafted Joseph Cross. At right end, J.P. Richardson is coming in with at least a little bit more speed and acceleration than we had at this spot last year with a mixture of Kiki and Allen. I can't remember his first name. We have a new Allen with Jermaine Allen that we drafted. But excited to see what J.P. Richardson can do. He is primarily a run stopper with 80 block shedding. Has a little bit of some power moves we're definitely going to try to increase. So hopefully he should be able to help out with the run game that we were a bit iffy at times with last year. Speaking of run game, we have two different kind of DTs on this team, run stoppers and interior pass rush. When we're talking about run stoppers, it's going to most likely be Tim Settle and Melvin Scott. When we go to pass rush, most likely the tandem will be Tim Settle and Tershawn Wharton. Rashard Lawrence is a backup for us in the run-stopping game, and technically he has the higher block shedding than Melvin Scott, but 2 years younger with a higher ceiling, we got to go with the younger guy. And then for our linebackers, we have a variety, mostly backups with Dwayne Boyd being the backup, as we primarily will only have two linebackers out there at a time, sometimes maybe three. The main two will still be Isaiah Simmons and Zaven Collins, who was a monster in the postseason last year, forcing so many fumbles. And then we ended up drafting Sean Reynolds. He'll be our number 3 linebacker, with Sterling Weatherford also being a backup. At the cornerback group, we are taking a step back from last year. Byron Murphy Jr. are still number 1, new number 1-ish, because we did have Adoree Jackson, who was higher. We ended up bringing in Isaiah Oliver at the very end of the postseason. Marco Wilson might get out on the field, and I say might, and you might be wondering why I'm saying might, because he's our number 3. With the 3-3-5, we are going to bring Budda Baker down to play the slot corner role. So guys like Marco Wilson, A.J. Parker, even Christian Matthew, who is in his second year but is already 26, they aren't going to see the field all too often, hopefully. If they do, it's going to be because of injury, so I'll knock on wood. Jalen Thompson will be our free safety. We also have Deontay Thompson, who's going to be a great backup for us. And since we were bringing Budda Baker down, I went ahead and signed Marcus Epps in open free agency to make sure we had a strong safety out there whenever Budda Baker drops down. But then in the draft, we just had a tremendous safety fall to us. So Nick Hale's definitely going to get the start at strong safety whenever Budda Baker does go down. If we're ever in the base, technically our base in the 3-3-5 will be the 3-3-5. So whenever we go to the 46 and the 4-4, Budda Baker will go out as strong safety, but primarily he will be playing slot corner for us. Kicker, we have Jason Sanders, signed him in open free agency, and punter is Jake Bailey. But now it's time to get into the first preseason game here against Cleveland and see what this team can do. If they're starters for us, they're definitely not going to be playing very much. The first 2 games, we'll play the first quarter of the Browns and Miami game, and then we'll play the entire second half of the Steelers game, which will be all backups. So the only real starting guy that we're probably going to see is offensive lineman and Kyler Murray for the offense. Defense is still pretty much going to be entirely the backups. So let's jump in and see what they can do. We are jumping in here to play a bit of the second quarter, starting just before the second quarter actually begins, as we are currently down 14-0, and that 99 speed looked really good right there from Collins. So, quick recap of what happened in the first quarter. Not much for our offense, and the defense Switching to that 3-3-5, you can tell they're still learning the system. But the primary goal today is to see how these backup receivers can do as the rest of the backups come in. Tyrod Taylor in at quarterback. He doesn't have a super strong arm, so we probably won't be able to hit too many deep shots, but he does still have some legs. He'll scramble for 16 yards, getting the ball up to midfield. So with Tyrod, we'd probably switch to a little bit more of the underneath passes. So let's see what we could do here. RPO. We got Ramirez on the slant, but we'll hand this one off to Breida. We'll fight forward and get the first down. Good blocking in front of him. And in the first quarter, we did have, I want to say it was Marshall playing in the slot, or not Marshall. There was a different, one of the undrafted rookies was playing in the slot. We're going to have a receiver coming across the side here. That's Ramirez with a nice juke, wearing Isabella's old number. It'll give us a first down, gain of 18. Also, a shout out to that crossbody throw there from Taylor. Looking for Callahan here. One-on-one, he got the break. Ball placed well. Nice hands, that's a touchdown. Not too bad for the undrafted rook. Coming in, first catch, touchdown. All right. Now it's time to see what this defense can do. We still have, I'm going to need to make some changes to the roster here. Looks like Buda Baker is out playing sub linebacker for us as they take a deep shot. Marcus Epps almost gets the pick. That was a pass from Hundley. Let's fix the roster a little bit, or at least the depth chart, I mean, real quick. All right, fixes made to the defensive line. And right now we got Scott and Lawrence out there. They're primarily the run stoppers. We'll see how well they could do. They go with a run. Nice hit in the backfield from Boyd. I believe that is one of our late draft picks, maybe undrafted rookie. But we're definitely going to hear that a lot, which is going to be a big difference compared to last year where we had primarily a lot of our older guys. We were a very old team, oldest in the NFL, and a drop there for the Browns, number 10. And that'll be a turnover for, or not turnover on downs, but they'll be punting away at least. And following a nice job on the return from Collins, we'll head back out here. We have Marshall Jr. alone on that left-hand side with one high safety who comes in. Marshall has the advantage, but Tyrod Taylor puts the ball a little too far out in front. So on 2nd and 10, let's go with a bit of play action. Ramirez on the slant, Marshall on the receiver screen. And let's actually go to that slot and probably shouldn't have. Instead, that's going to be an INT. Denzel Ward still out there. He should be gone out of this game, but instead he's gone to the house. Put the Browns up 21 like his number to 7. And on the initial read, it was a good choice to throw to that slot, but quickly after he read it, well, we all know what happened. Denzel Ward dropped right into the spot. Nice, or better choice here. Going to find number 14, Callahan, who had the little quick streak touchdown on not last possession, but the possession before that. Number 30 comes in. That's Chuba Hubbard. His first carry only for about a gain of 2. On 2nd and 8, staying on that same formation, trips to the left. Ramirez lone to the right. We've been able to hook up with him once, but we're going to have an open Brahman tight end. Does he get the feet down? They say he does. Not quite sure about that, but they say first down, cross midfield to the 39. And Cleveland is going to challenge that call. So let's take a better look here. Definitely got that first foot in, but I don't know if that second foot came down in bounds with the hit from number 39 there. Need a better angle. Not sure we're going to get that better angle, though. And the call on the field is reversed. So never mind. Take back those 20 yards. And I don't like this play call here. Let's go. Sure. We'll still send Hubbard across, and we'll go on that flat route. Fake the handoff. Try to get someone open. Callahan does get open. A flag down, but for now, another first down for the Cardinals. Might be coming back again, though. And that's going to be on Josh Jones. So for the second play in a row, a first down taken off, or taken back. And we'll go with a receiver screen here. We have a very speedy receiver, but blocking did not hold up their form. We'll punt this one away on 4th and 13. So far, I would say offense definitely looking like it is struggling a little bit. Haven't been able to easily move down the field, but again, this is with the backups in. Pass rush coming in, and there's a sack for the rookie, Melvin Scott. Loss of 12 yards. So he could definitely rush the passer for us, which is good. We need to see that he can do that. It is up against some backup offensive linemen, so we need to see if he can do that with the normal starters. Decent gain, bringing up a 3rd and 14. Let's switch this up. Yeah, let's send the blitz. Nick Hale is playing that slot corner spot for us, and he had a decent pressure, still getting some pressure. Can he get off the block? No. Rashard Lawrence was coming in, but instead Hundley will throw this one away, and they'll punt it away. And once again, starting in pretty good field position at the 44. We're going to have Hubbard come in motion. He's going to get the quick toss, try to get around the edge here. Good blocking from his receivers. Didn't see that too much last year. Pretty much only came from D-Hop, but this one going close down to the 1. Great rush there from Chuba Hubbard. He has speed. It didn't quite look like it there, but he definitely has it. And on 1st and goal for the first time, Nall back in at running back. McBride at fullback. Will be a power run down the middle, and we're in. That's exactly what we were looking for when we signed him. A power back who could just run you over. That'll be our 2nd score of the night with about 2 minutes left before half. And now let's see if our defense can get a stop here for us. Allow us to try to tie the game up before halftime, before we technically end our time here. And J.P. Richardson, he got back there. Didn't get a sack, but at least forced a hurry up there from the quarterback. Again, as I mentioned with Scott, this is against backup offensive linemen, so we'll need to see him do that against the regular starters as they set up a screen, but that one was maybe tipped at the line of scrimmage. On 3rd and 10, they'll come out with a power formation here. 2 tight ends and a fullback. We'll send the double A gap, and we'll just wait patiently, and Marcus Epps get the stop. We'll call a timeout, 1:46 seconds, so we should have about a minute and a half left on offense. And once again, Collins putting in work on the punt return. We'll start in plus territory. Tyrod Taylor coming out. We'll run a little bit of a rollout. That's what it is. We're going to find Ramirez, 2nd time for him today, getting the catch down to the 26. And I'd definitely say, if anything, we added quite a bit of speed to this receiver group, even after losing guys like D-Hop, and we already had Hopkins, and Ramirez can't squeeze it. Nice pass breakup from the DB. We'll bring up 2nd and 10, RPO option here. Young to the right-hand side, or Callahan with some blockers out in front, and that pass not very good for Tyrod. He had his receiver open. Instead, threw it off the side of, I think, his offensive lineman's helmet. I'm going to go again with this receiver screen, and a good job from Denzel Ward. Get out of here, dude. It's the backup's time to play, and instead Denzel Ward's still out there making plays. He had the pick 6 earlier. I'm going to send Hubbard in motion here. We'll sit behind the rest of the receivers as they all go deep. And we are going to have a wide open receiver. That's our tight end, Brahman, in for a touchdown. The rookie will help tie this game up with a made PAT. Going for it on 4th and 12 works out for the Cardinals here. And with that game all tied up, let's quick sim this one and get on into the 2nd game. So as we quickly watch what happens the rest of this game, field goal made for the Browns. They have the lead and tack on a touchdown as well. Into the 4th quarter, 10-point game. We get on the board. But so do the Browns, keeping it that 10-point game. And we will drop the first one against the Browns, 38-28. And we're jumping right on into the game against the Miami Dolphins with the kickoff this time, actually playing the first quarter. Good kick there from Jake Bailey, and they'll be starting at the 25. And this game I actually do correctly have the 3-3-5 out there. And it's weird. I might need to actually change a few things here as they get it to the outside. Last time I tested this, it had the left end standing up. But as I see here, it has the right end standing up that is actually a defensive lineman rather than an edge rush kind of guy. So we might need to switch our edge rushers. We'll see if that's just this formation of the 3-3-5 or if it's all of them. But granted, as I just checked, we only have that other formation and then the double A gap here. So we might need to switch around our edge rushers to get the correct guy down, because I don't want a slow guy standing up. I want to make sure he has some momentum carrying forward. Okay, but then this play, it has it the opposite. So it might just be based on the play itself. So we'll just kind of vary a little bit. And that's maybe Madden trying to show that there should be a little bit of a strong and weak edge rusher. But so far in this game, Dolphins moving the ball pretty steadily so far. And we do have the correct guy standing up this time. Will be a pass again. And a wide open receiver, number 11. Thompson a little slow to get over there. That's Wilson down to the 31. And of course, like I had mentioned in the last game, there's going to be some learning curves with the defense, and I'm sure they're still getting used to it. Fumble, though. Buda Baker gets the scoop, spinning around, and we'll start at the 18. Was that Zaven Collins striking early? Can we get a replay? There we go. Loose ball. Tony Pollard goes across the middle, and I couldn't tell you who laid the hit. Pretty sure it was a linebacker. Either way, that ball is definitely out. Yeah, Isaiah Simmons with the hit. And for the most part, first team offense coming out there. Again, going to have N'Keal Harry and Terrace Marshall as the two outside receivers. Going to take a look in the slot at a couple of the other backups. And that one's going to be picked. Thrown to triple coverage. I mean, that's what's going to happen. Try to force it there to Marshall, and it didn't work out for us. Instead, Holland gets the INT. Luckily, it's just preseason, so the stats don't matter. Bunch to the left here for the Dolphins. Try to get around the edge. We do have an interior pass rush, but they find Hill, who will get the first down. That was Hall on the tackle. A bit of an awkward tackle as we're going to check out of this formation here, this play. As they come out with a run. There's some running room, but just a little bit too slow. Number 26 for us. He came flying over to get the stop. They do come out in a heavy run formation, so Melvin Scott in. We need to make sure to remember to switch back and forth between Melvin Scott as well as Wharton. But there's a stop in the backfield for Cameron Thomas. So far, that seems to be the best that he plays is in the run game, but we need a guy to rush the edge. So far, I'm not feeling Thomas. And now going back spread, 3 receiver set. Wharton comes back in for an edge or for an interior rush as they do go with a run down the middle. Number 2 breaks a tackle, and he's down to about the 6-yard line. That is Edmonds' gain of 9. And now coming out in our 4-4s where you'll see most of our big guys, some more linebackers as well. Weatherford out there will blow up the blocker, but there'll still be a gain of 3 down to the 2. Another option for us is the 5-2. Lawrence, Settle, and Scott all in at the middle. This is really our number 1 run-stopping formation. As they go with a pitch to the outside, we have a couple guys there. Isaiah Simmons will finally bring him down. Be a loss of 1. And on 3rd and goal, they'll come out 2 tight ends to the left, 1 to the right. It's their normal just goal line formation. Good stop there. Buda Baker on the edge at least slows them down. And Weatherford will get out there to bring him down. Field goal unit coming out. And the Miami Dolphins out with the field goal team set to take the lead in this game, and they will with that made field goal. 3-0 ends their first drive. And with 1:42, we'll basically treat this as a 2-minute drive here. As again, we're only playing the first quarter of the first 2 games. Williams with the receiver screen tries to cut up field. Not much there. Going to hurry up offense again, treating this like a 2-minute warning. Trying to see who could get the edge downfield. And maybe if this was thrown sooner, it would have been something. But it became triple coverage again. And again, it was picked off. We're looking to go with Marshall downfield. And when that ball was thrown, it was one-on-one coverage. But good job from the defense to flood to where the ball went. And we're going to need that here for us. But they will get the catch. That is Waddle to the 45. Definitely feel like we're a step behind in this game. Speed-wise, at least. We're just barely missing some of these plays. Good stop there from Collins in the middle. Had a couple different guys waiting for him. So I would say, at least in this game, we're going to make a quick audible again. I would say that... Oh, I did not want to change the camera angle. Oh, God, there we go. Now we're fixed. I would say that the run defense is looking a bit better, but now the passing defense is struggling a little bit. And we'll finish off this drive into the second quarter. Right now, close game 3-0. But it could very quickly switch into the favor of the Dolphins. As they do come out with only a 2-receiver set, but 2 running backs in the backfield. There with a run down the middle. Pollard shows a little bit of power there. We'll scoot forward for a gain of 7. Now we'll come out with a bunch to that left-hand side. Hill, Wilson, and Gesicki. They'll go with the toss. We have a couple guys out there, but a great block seals the edge, and Pollard is in. Well, this game didn't go too well in the played portion. Let's get on into that last game and see what the backups can do. So as we get through this one, a 10-3 lead for the Dolphins. Now make that 17-3 as we maybe got a safety in there. A 20-12 game, make that 23-12. We're just really struggling to get the ball in the end zone. Make it 26-18. We're at least getting some points, but the backups are looking iffy. Not putting up a lot of points so far in this preseason. And let's kick off the second half of the third game, but we will be primarily watching all the backups play. Collins has been great for us in the return game with that 99 speed, and he'll start us off at the 31. And I believe for the first time this preseason, we actually have a lead, 21-17. We'll just need to protect it. So go with a bit of RPO here. Derek Young will get the handoff, gain of 5. Out at receiver, we have Ramirez and Miller on the outside with Callahan. One of the only of the younger guys who've actually gotten a touchdown, at least that I know of. We do have a receiver breaking open. Ramirez with almost the catch. Second hit breaks it up. A catch there very well could have helped him make the roster. We'll go with a bit of RPO here on 3rd and 5. We'll hand it off, follow our blockers. Watt came in to get the stop, but not after Young gives us the first down. And out with Young, in comes Chuba Hubbard. Going to have Callahan play underneath. A bit of play action with some guys going deep. And we have a wide open receiver. That's our tight end. That is Brahman. He did have a touchdown. See, we've had a couple of our younger guys get a touchdown. Just not exactly who you think it would be. And with that fresh set of downs inside, or close to the red zone actually, not quite in there yet. Do a good job covering, but Callahan breaks open late, and he'll get just about past the first down marker. And on 1st and 10, some more play action, or RPOs. We'll go with a run here. Try to get Chuba Hubbard to the outside, but a nice tackle from Fitzpatrick. Nothing really opened up there, so went with the safest call. Will be a loss of 1. And we'll stick to that RPO game here. Maybe Hubbard down the middle. Also have Callahan, who will try to get that out too, and the pass was really bad. We've seen a couple bad passes on those RPOs from our backup quarterbacks, both McDonald as well as Tyrod. You'd expect Tyrod would be able to make that throw. And we're just going to toss this one up. Pressure came in, and we'll at least get the tackle at the 1. But Minkah Fitzpatrick gets the INT. And actually, let's change this up. Let's go with a double A-gap blitz. Why not? Let's try to get a safety here. Bring down Broyles, the undrafted rookie safety. And he was in the backfield, just not down the right gap. Gain of 3 for Najee. And on 2nd and 7, let's bring out the 5-2 formation here. 5 offensive linemen, 2 linebackers, and now they're going to make a check here. So we should probably follow that ourselves. Try to make sure we drop some guys back out in coverage, and one tight end just leaks out. Oliver will get over and get the stop. That's a first down up to the 19. And Kenny Pickett, the quarterback for the Steelers, I actually believe he's 3rd on their depth chart, at least as I saw earlier in the preseason, but he's at least out there with their starters right now. On 2nd and 7, we are having Nick Hale play again in that slot corner role. He will basically back up exactly what it is that Budda Baker does, and Nick Hale's in for the sack. That's exactly why we play him there. Will be a loss of at least 6 yards, maybe more. Could not remember how much, what the yardage was on 2nd down. Either way, a great stop there made from one of our young players, our rookie safety. I believe we picked him up in the 2nd round. Might have been even a later 1st round pick. We'll go underneath, caught, and then quickly out of bounds for Freiermuth. They will punt this one away. And obviously one of the staples of this offense is the RPO swing pass. So let's see how Breida can run it. We know Derek Young had a lot of success with it. We get one block late and get out of bounds, gain of 5. If he could have stayed in bounds, it could have been more. On 2nd and 5, we'll come out 2 tight end set. Brahman and Wall out there getting his first bit of action. So we'll look for Ramirez off the cut, and a great job there made from number 30. Not a very good placed ball from McDonald. We're definitely going to need to see some improvement from McDonald if he's to make any chance of staying around with this team, because so far I haven't seen some very well-placed balls. On 2nd and 7, let's bring a bit of a corner blitz, although they go with a run. That's close to the first down, marked 3rd and inches. And with them coming out spread, we'll come out the double A gap look here. Going to bring Broyles down as he's supposed to guard the tight end. See if Cross could get off the edge. He has a bit more speed than Thomas does, but again, about a step and a half too late. Freiermuth gets the catch for the first. Trying to find some speed for this edge rush spot might be difficult. Gardig might have just been a very secretly good player there for us. 53, I couldn't tell you who that is. I think one of our backup linebackers. He'll end up getting the stop. Maybe Reynolds? I think that might be Reynolds. Reynolds actually looks kind of small for a linebacker, even though he has some decent size. And a nice catch there from Pickens. I had considered making a trade with the Steelers, sending them D-Hop, and ended up getting, in exchange, George Pickens. I just didn't feel like it would be a good fit, about the same overall as Terrence, but we do get a sack. Why do I keep saying that? A sack with Myjah Sanders. He got around the edge. He does have a bit more speed, and he might be the answer for our backup edge rush instead of Thomas. And following that sack, going to bring out a couple other of the younger guys, with it being the 4th quarter, trying to see who might end up squeaking onto this roster, but a huge run down the middle. Gain of 15 yards for Dodson. We'll end up bringing up a 3rd and 3. It looks like Carson Wentz is maybe their 2nd or 3rd quarterback. They will find an open number 19 with the first down. Reynolds, our rookie linebacker, just about a step off there. Needs to tighten up that coverage. Either way, it is a 3rd and goal. Twins to the right-hand side, one lone guy to the left. Will be a run down the middle. Dodson quickly stopped. That's number 98, Wharton, getting the stuff in the middle. On 2nd and goal, they come out with a bunch to the right. We're going to try to send a bit of a double linebacker blitz, and no one able to get through. Eventually, we'll finally get there. That is Thompson, the backup safety, finally getting the stop. 3rd and goal at the 7. And on 3rd and goal, double A gap look here. We're going to bring a heavy blitz here. Going to back out the weak edge rush for us. Hale, quick off the edge. Wentz senses the pressure, but Hale's in there to get the stop. Will actually be marked as a 2nd sack of the day for Hale. Definitely glad we picked him up. Makes our safety group extremely strong. And the field goal unit will come out to not tie the game, but make it a 1-point difference. And that kick is up and right down the middle. It will be a 21-20 game. And it looks like the coach's mind might be made up at quarterback. Tyrod Taylor coming out to help try to put this game away. Trying to find someone open, but nothing is open. Will be a throwaway. On 2nd and 10, Breida back in the backfield. We're going to try to set up a screen pass to him. Steelers have been getting a blitz in, and big number 97, or maybe 67, he gets the swat. Got to find a way to break open somewhere. Again, we do have a lot of our backups in, but for some reason, Marshall Jr. is out at slot, even though I definitely had someone else in there. Either way, we're going to go Ramirez underneath, and he gets us close to the first down, 4th and 1. Let's go for it. It's preseason, so let's have a little bit of fun with it. Looks like they might be getting a guy off the edge who's covering Marshall, so we need to keep an eye on him. Try to get around the edge. Breida with the quick toss will at least get the first down, maybe about a yard or two past it. Either way, fresh set of downs up to the 37. We got Miller going deep, a couple underneath routes, or a few underneath routes, I should say, as we do have a couple guys, and instead of the 3 open receivers, that ball floats and is picked off by Williams. Not a great look for the quarterback so far today. You see, it had a couple different guys there. Maybe intended that for Wall, but Wall definitely could have got there if he just moved his feet. Well, either way, Steelers have possession here. Now it's time for our defense to make a play. They will go with a quick slant and caught number 19 once again. Wilson in coverage. That'll be a gain of 4 as they come out. Twins to either side. Going to run a bit of man coverage here. We have some speed. They go with a run down the middle. Good job from Dodson. He'll get the first down to the 27. And let's make an audible here. Was going to send a bit of a corner blitz, a.k.a. our safety blitz. Instead, they go with a Shot to their tight end for another first down. Big number 85 with the catch. He takes the hit pretty strongly as well. They're now down inside the 13, looking to take their first lead, I believe, since the first quarter. It will be another pass. I have a couple guys sitting underneath, but they go to the outside. 81 gets the catch. Gets to about the 5 with a 2-minute warning hit. So we'll come out here in the 46 defense, slide over the D line a little bit, try to man up a little bit closer to where they're lined up, and they go with a run to the weak side. But we'll get the stop, 3rd and inches. Hurry up here, make it audible, and I don't know if we got guys on everyone. There's a free tight end who's just stumbling around and down just shy of the goal line. Can we send in a quick engaged 8 here, try to get in their face? We do. Simmons gets back there. Well, at least slow them down. Let us catch our breath a little bit. 2nd and goal, bunch to the left-hand side. We'll send the double A-gap blitz, and we had quick pressure. Epps will come in, and he will get the sack, loss of about 3 yards. He is technically on the trade block as we have so many other safeties. And Demugier, maybe, will miss on the sack. And they say Wentz got in? I'm not too sure about that. I'm not going to risk losing a timeout as we need it to now get down the field and score. But Steelers take the lead. 1:07 seconds left. And they're going to go for the 2-point conversion to make it a little bit more in favor of them. Wouldn't necessarily put the game away, but Weatherford in with the sack. We'll keep it a 5-point game. That 2-point conversion stop actually pretty critical for us. That means if we get down the field, get a touchdown, we can win this game. We would have had to at least get the extra point and would have tied the game. Callahan, they say another catch. Again, like earlier, I don't know. This very well could go to review. And indeed it does. Booth review comes down. He might have dragged that back foot. Can we get a better view here? Can't see the first foot. Actually, that first foot might have landed out of bounds. It might not have even been good in college. And they do bring it back. So almost a really good play from one of our young, undrafted rookie receivers. We'll need to make a different play, a better play. Similar option here, just on the quick stop, and he loses track of where the ball was. The safety does not. The Steelers will take over. All interceptions, I feel like, for all of our backup quarterbacks today. Just not putting the ball where it really should be. And all the Steelers have to do is run out the clock. We do have 3 timeouts. We could use them if we need to, and we'll try to use them. First down, we do get a stop. However, they are in field goal range, so they could go ahead and hit a field goal, make it an 8-point game. But a first down pretty much seals this game. Good stop there or almost a good stop from Reynolds. Dodson, with a 2nd and 3rd effort, puts the nail in the coffin. And with that, we will lose all of our preseason games. And we really didn't see a whole lot of great plays made on either side of the ball. A couple plays made here or there. Of course, we didn't really play with any of our first team fully out there, but you can tell that the team isn't going to be as good as they were last year. There's definitely a step down that was taken, which we expected, but we did get a lot younger. We're able to see some of these younger guys making plays. And before we go making any changes to the roster, aka getting down to the 53-man, let's take a look at the stats for the team. Because obviously a lot of football was played that we didn't play ourselves. And yeah, turnovers, even while we were playing, were a big problem. It was a problem for us last year. Will continue to possibly be this year. Kyler Murray, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, completing 65% of his passes. Our backup quarterbacks, not good. We might need to look for another option at backup quarterback because past Kyler Murray, it's really bad. In the rushing department, Derek Young averaged 13 yards a carry. Only 4 carries for 52 yards, though. Chuba Hubbard, 3.6. He did fumble once. In terms of rushing touchdowns, the only ones were by Ryan Nall on both of his carries. So he's very much fitting exactly what we wanted him to do. Matt Breida, 4.4 yards a carry. Tyrod Taylor had 5.5, but I'm not sure he's sticking around. In the receiving game, Tyler Ramirez was our number 1 receiver. So while we weren't watching or playing, he actually seemed to be doing pretty well. Terrence Marshall was number 2, and he will probably see a good bit of playing time. He had 1 touchdown, 157 yards on 10 catches. Ramirez had about a $180 on 13. Callahan, who did have the 1 touchdown that we saw, 122 on 9. Rondale Moore played a bit while we weren't out there. He had a touchdown, a little under 100 yards. Brahman had a touchdown, 70 yards. N'Keal Harry, not a whole lot. I think he will be that number 4 guy. I think we'll go with Terrence. See how well he could play. In the blocking department, though, really good. Elton Jenkins gave up 2, and then 1 for Hudson and 1 for Christian. So 2 of our guys didn't give up any sacks. Bulaga and Justin Pugh didn't give up any. So that's really good. Over on defense, we had a 2-way tie for leading tackles with Isaiah Oliver and Zaven Collins. Tackles for a loss, 2 for Cameron Thomas. So he gets in the backfield, but he doesn't rush the passer. And we have 3 other linemen, defensive linemen, to stop the run. I think we might end up trading Cameron Thomas. Past him, Isaiah Simmons, Sterling Weatherford, and Myjah Sanders each had 2 tackles for a loss. Isaiah Oliver, Jermaine Allen, Dennis Gardick, Kingsley Kiki, Settle, Wilson, Boyd, and Parker each had 1 tackle for loss. In the sack department, we were actually led by Nick Hale in that last game with 2. Gardick had 1.5 in his limited time playing. Myjah Sanders 1, same as Melvin Scott, Marcus Epps, and Deontay Thompson, and then half of 1 for Byron Murphy Jr. So a good chunk of our defensive line kind of seemed to not really be getting back there as often as we would hope so. We did have 2 interceptions, Buda Baker and AJ Parker, as well as Nick Hale and Isaiah Simmons both forcing fumbles. So we had 2 forced fumbles with only 1 recovery. And in the kicking department, 3 of 4 on field goals, 8 for 8 on extra points for Jason Sanders. And Jake Bailey only averaged 40 yards a punt. I'm hoping that's just because we didn't have to punt too far. Hopefully. But in the kick return game, Juwan Collins averaged 25.8 yards a return. And in the punting game, averaged 11 yards a return. I really like him in that return game. And because of that, he might just find himself on the roster, the 53-man. But now comes down to getting this roster down to its proper size. And for the most part, most of these decisions will be pretty simple. As we could already see here with Cole McDonald, he does not have any availability left to go to the practice squad, and he did not play very well. He is for sure going to be cut. And honestly, I want to cut Tyrod Taylor too. He didn't play very well. We might need to look at the trade market for a backup quarterback. So Tyrod is also gone. And on roster currently, we have 9 receivers. That's definitely too much. I know who our top 4 are. Max Callahan, I think, makes the roster. He played very well. Ramirez did too. They're both pretty similar, both 22 years old, and they would both be 3rd at what they do. I would think Ramirez, being more of the outside guy, would maybe see the field a bit more, but honestly, I think they would both be about the same. So it makes it a little difficult what we do there. Collins, I do want to keep on the team strictly for his kick return duties, so I know Jamarcus Williams and Romeo Miller can move to the practice squad. So that leaves us with 7, and again, I'm not quite sure what to do between Ramirez and Callahan. So maybe we'll come back to it. Maybe all 3 of them stay on the roster. I know Jaleel Wall, we do want to move to the practice squad. And I feel like we do have too many offensive linemen. So James Barnett will move to the practice squad. It'll at least have us with 8 offensive linemen, and that's about what I try to keep. Now for these left end spots, I know Campbell is headed to the practice squad. That one is for sure. Victor, I'm not sure. Joseph Cross is the better of the 2. So I think Victor also goes to the practice squad. Now, technically, that gets us down to our roster limit, the 53-man. But I think there's some other things we need to do. And in comes a new backup quarterback in Tyler Huntley. 66 overall, but he could run. He has some decent throw power as well as accuracies. Throw on the run. I think he would fit our scheme as well as being a younger quarterback. All we had to give up was a later 6th round pick, current 6th round pick, and then a future 4. I think that's all right. And in a corresponding move, we are going to send Cameron Thomas to the Buccaneers, who had the lowest overall or tied with the lowest overall current starting left end. We'll send him Thomas. Thomas will start there. And we get back that third round pick that we spent drafting him. And for the last move before we head into the regular season, we will trade Marcus Epps. I know we just signed him in the last offseason, but we didn't know we were going to end up with Nick Hale. Nick Hale very much impressed us, so he'll be getting that second safety spot. Marcus Epps, we're going to trade to the Buccaneers because they had the lowest overall strong safety. We just asked for a 6. It's very light. I think that would make sense. So now we actually sit a couple guys under the 53 man, and we'll look to fill that as we move on over to week 1, where we might be able to steal some guys off of some other teams' practice squad. And before we could even do that, teams did that to us. Gordon Morgan, the Mr. Irrelevant, who was a hidden dev corner who just didn't really have any day one ability to get out there, he was picked up by the Bears. The Chiefs signed Presley Harvin III. I don't know who that is. I'm pretty sure that's just someone the CPU put on my team, even though I always tell them to not do that. The CPU still does that. Pretty annoying, but let's fill out our roster. And I did look through all of the free agents. I did make a couple changes to the practice squad, but for the most part, there's no one I really wanted to add, so we'll stick with 50 of the 53, and if we have some injuries along the way, we know that we have some space and we don't have to lose anybody. So that'll be the end of preseason. Hope you guys enjoyed. Got to see some promising play from some of the younger guys, but good bit of difference. Offense will start this year 81 overall, defense at a 79 overall, with the overall of the team at 80. And we'll start off against the Dallas Cowboys, and they'll definitely test how our 3-3-5 will actually work out. So make sure you stick around for that game and by hitting that subscription button below if you're not already subscribed, and ticking that bell icon to be notified of when these videos go live. This series posted every Monday and Thursday, with my state-only challenges, currently Florida, posted Wednesday and Saturday. So make sure you guys check that out if you haven't already. And until next time, we'll see you later. Bye.